Remove all unnecessary steps to increase productivity and throughput. Hi, everyone. I'm Nick McLean, founder of the Team Growth Movement. And this principle, when it comes to team leadership and team building, is absolutely essential. And that's to remove all unnecessary steps for your operation team, also for your agent team. The likely reason your agents aren't making phone calls is because of a few friction points to make that phone call. You may say, log into your CRM and call a lead. However, to them, they know what they need to do. They need to call a lead. So what do? They look at their phone. Then the app to their CRM is maybe on the second or third screen. And so just that very friction point may result in them not calling the lead. So you might have to go into the office or have a team meeting and have everyone download the app onto their phone and put it on their home screen. And not just that, but when they click on that app, that it pops up and they're already logged in. Because if they're not already logged in, or they have to reset their password, they forget their password, that's friction. It's the reason they're not making a phone call. And so these every last detail in terms of unnecessary steps need to look at. So if you look at a company like UPS, they were able to deliver packages on time across the world and even locally because they looked at every last step and every friction point, to the point that they had a policy where they had no left turns. They want to minimize the left turns on their routes to improve their velocity and their timing and the ability for their people to deliver packages, not just quickly and on time, but more packages, because the quicker they can do it, the more packages they can do it. So every last thing needs to be evaluated by you, the team leader. For example, in your office, you probably have staff members that are okay with friction because they're getting paid per hour. They don't actually get paid to do more in that hour. That's job security. The more they can do in 1 hour is job security. And the more they can do in 1 hour is upward mobility if there's advancement at your company. But if there's no real advancement in your company, doing more in an hour is actually probably not good for their job, because if they could get their job done in 2 hours, then why would you pay them for 8 hours if they can get their work done in 2? You might tell them to go home and they're actually going to make less money. So they're incentivized to take 8 hours to do whatever they need to do. But as a team leader, you need to go in there scientifically and look at things. Go in there with a stopwatch, like you're a manufacturing plant. How long does it take you to walk from your desk to the scanner? You got to scan a document. How long does it take you to go from your desk to the printer, right? And if you can minimize the steps, you're going to increase your productivity. I learned this a long time ago, and you might say that it's all online, but here's the point. I noticed that my staff, none of them had a printer and a scanner in their office. So anytime they wanted to print, they printed something, they had to get out of their desk and walk over to the printer, grab it, and then go back to the desk. If someone needed a copy, they'd have to get up, go to the copy. And it was worse than that. They would get out of their desk and they'd walk to the printer and they would talk to people. It was a great excuse to have conversations. So what did I do? Simple. I bought every single person at my office their own personal printer and scanner. That way, they didn't have to even get out of their chair. They could print, grab, go. They could grab their paper, scan it, send. Agent would come in, hey, can you scan this and send it to my client? No problem. They didn't have to get out of their chair. Saved tons of time. I made more money. In fact, I noticed that my team, my staff, they weren't working as fast as they needed to because they would have to open up a browser and then toggle between tabs or different spreadsheets and applications. So what did I do? I bought them dual monitors. Now they could have their mainstay core apps up here, and they could have their other spreadsheets and documents they need to do, and they could do things faster. So a dual monitor allowed them to input a listing faster. They'd have the assessor records and the property information here. They'd have the MLS and the input there, and they'd upload it up really quickly. Because I'm removing unnecessary steps, just little clicks. And this is what technology companies do all the time. They look at every last click and realize, was that click necessary? Amazon crushed it with this by removing friction. They came up with the one-click pay button. where you could just click the button and you already had your credit card saved in there and pay just like that. Zillow's figured out how to remove friction from talking to an agent. Remove friction in terms of scheduling an appointment. Now they have it in their application. They can just schedule the appointment and it goes to the agent instantly on the website. So you need to be thinking about, how do I remove unnecessary steps before you start adding steps? And see, I see this mistake all the time with team leaders. It's like they have so many steps. It's so complicated. And the principle remains true that anything you start that isn't finished is waste. Let me say that again. Anything that is started that doesn't finish is waste. So the same thing goes with converting a lead to a client or a lead to a closing. That if you call a lead, attempt a lead, text a lead, show a lead, and they don't buy a home, you can consider all of that energy, time wasted. It's all wasted. So we only get paid for completion. Open loops, close loops. Open loops, close loops. Talk to somebody, close them on a home. I don't know when, but we're going to go through with it. An everlasting approach to getting the client a home, whether it's 1 day, 180 days, or 18 years. It doesn't matter. What matters is at our company that we're committed to the end result and removing all unnecessary steps. So for your team, you can think about this as a million different ways. You're starting to think not just about the inputs, but you're thinking about strategically, how do we get more done with less? And your agents are going to love you because you're asking them to do less to get more, right? So you're going to train them on that. Now, one thing I noticed is that a lot of my agents didn't work from home very well. In fact, I noticed that agents that were at the office work better. But the problem is, getting them to the office is a lot of friction. They got to get up, get dressed, get in their car, drive across town, get to the office, get set up. And that was a wasted hour, hour and a half. After COVID, we could do Zoom meetings. But the problem with that is at home, they had too much friction, too many distractions. So for the longest time when they were working at home, I had a home office checklist. And I wanted to make sure that they were adequately set up at their home office. Because what would happen is they would get to a certain point and they'd have to drive all the way to the office to get a listing package, a buyer package, drop off a key, get a disclosure form, when they could just do it on their own. What I like to do is I like to buy my agents technology and equipment to enhance their home office. So instead of giving them more splits on a closing, maybe give them a new monitor, maybe give them a stand-up desk, a nice seat. Give them a scanner, a printer, give them a key fob, give them office equipment that they can use at their house. Because if you can make them more efficient at their house, there's less friction to get work done. Isn't that amazing? I saw this as a correlation. The better equipped the agent was at home, the more they worked. Because they're at home and they're willing to work. And if they see their beautiful desk, now agents at their home that they're working from the kitchen table, or it's cluttery, or they don't have a home office, or they don't have an extra bedroom. And even in that extra bedroom, it's they don't have the right equipment. They were better off getting in the office, but you can help them achieve more. So remove all unnecessary steps and connive, constant and never-ending improvement. You have to go back and remove and remove and remove and ask for feedback. The laziest person is going to find all of the shortcuts. Don't get mad at the lazy person for skipping steps if those steps were unnecessary. See, a lazy person is going to figure out that's just totally unnecessary. A high D or a high I that just is results oriented, they're going to skip a lot of steps. There might be consequences to skipping those steps, and you have to bring those forward if there's consequences that are going to cost time in the future. But if not, get rid of it. Get rid of it, because you have other people on your team that are rule followers and step followers, and they get caught up in every single step doing it absolutely perfect. Where your type A's and your direct people, they're skipping those steps left and right. They figured out it's not necessary for me to make money. So I'm just going to skip that. I know Nick's asking me to do that, but I'm going to skip it anyways, and I'll figure it out later because it's slowing me down and they're making sales. And then you're like, you're doing awesome making sales, but you're really not very good at paperwork. You're not good at the process. At the same time, your other agents can't sell a home because they're in the weeds on your process. It's way too long, way too many steps, and they're so scared of screwing up. They think they skip a step, you're going to get mad at them. You're going to yell at them. You're going to get rid of them. And the reality is you're probably going to get rid of them because they're not selling any homes. They got to bring home the bacon and make some money. So think about this critically and become a strategic thinker. I'm Nick McLean, and this is the Team Growth Movement. Keep following Team Growth Brokerage as we grow. Keep following Team Growth Tuesdays and showing up. The only team meeting for team leaders every single week. Take care and grow a team.